What if humanity's dream of living in space finally became reality? Imagine standing at the edge of a launch pad, the roar of a rocket engine filling the air as it tears through the sky, carrying not just metal and fuel, but the hopes of millions. Elon Musk, a man who once dreamed of stars from a small room in South Africa, now finds himself at the forefront of a new era. This is not science fiction anymore. Space hotels, once the stuff of wild imagination, are no longer a fantasy but an imminent reality. Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough? Elon's journey began long before rockets soared. Born in Pretoria, South Africa, he was a curious child, devouring books about space and technology, sometimes lost in worlds far beyond Earth's atmosphere. The son of an engineer and a nutritionist, Elon often felt like an outsider, bullied at school but driven by a relentless curiosity. His childhood wasn't easy, a mixture of strict upbringing and moments of loneliness fueled a burning desire to prove himself. Family was complicated. His mother, May, was a strong presence, nurturing his dreams, while his relationship with his father was strained. These conflicting bonds shaped the man who would one day redefine space exploration. Years later, as Elon founded SpaceX, early attempts to launch rockets ended in failure. The public watched skeptically as each rocket crashed, costs ballooned, and investors worried. There was a moment, after 3 failed launches, when the future of SpaceX hung by a thread. Bankruptcy loomed, and many advised Elon to quit. But Musk's resolve only hardened. He believed in the dream harder than anyone else. Against all odds, the 4th launch succeeded, sending Falcon 1 into orbit and igniting hope within the team and the world. This success was more than just a technical win, it was proof that perseverance could overcome doubt and despair. Musk's vision, however, stretched far beyond Earth's orbit. Colonizing Mars became his obsession. He spoke of making humans a multiplanetary species, a goal that seemed both terrifying and inspiring. Critics called him reckless, supporters called him visionary. The dream was massive, the obstacles monumental, from technological hurdles to financial strains. Yet, with each setback came a flicker of hope. Reusable rockets, once a distant concept, became reality when the first Falcon 9 booster landed flawlessly after a mission. The cheers that erupted in the SpaceX control room echoed around the world. This breakthrough promised to reduce costs drastically and change space travel forever. Meanwhile, Tesla's rise provided much-needed fuel, financial and ideological, to SpaceX. The two companies shared Musk's restless spirit, innovation, risk, and a desire to reshape the future. As SpaceX pushed boundaries, competition heated up. Jeff Bezos's Blue Origin and Richard Branson's Virgin Galactic introduced new pressures, sparking a fierce commercial space race. Musk faced rivalries and doubters, but also found camaraderie in shared goals. Then came the shock. Musk announced SpaceX would build luxury hotels in space. The world gasped. Could this really be happening? The idea of floating resorts orbiting Earth seemed extravagant, yet Musk framed it as the next step for humanity, a way to make space accessible not just for scientists and astronauts, but for dreamers and travelers. Designing the first space hotel prototype proved a monumental challenge. Engineers grappled with life support systems, radiation shielding, and zero-gravity accommodations. Funding struggles and technical setbacks tested everyone's resolve. Still, breakthroughs came through long nights and unyielding teamwork. The selection and training of the first space hotel crew revealed another layer of complexity. Astronauts and hospitality staff underwent grueling preparation, facing fears of isolation and the unknown. Bonds formed among them as they readied for a mission unlike any before. Launch day for the hotel module was fraught with tension. A technical glitch threatened disaster moments before liftoff. Musk's leadership, calm and decisive, steered the mission through. When the module reached orbit, a collective sigh of relief spread through mission control. The first guests arrived months later, stepping into a world of wonder and anxiety. Weightlessness brought joy and challenges. Personal conflicts flared under the pressure of confinement, but the human spirit shone through. Media coverage exploded worldwide, with opinions split between awe and concern. Ethical debate sparked about the cost and purpose of space tourism. Then, disaster struck. A critical failure jeopardized the space hotel, forcing the crew into emergency protocols. The crisis tested friendships and Musk's resolve. Yet hope returned through ingenious problem-solving and teamwork, saving lives and preserving the dream. The emotional aftermath was raw. Survivors grappled with trauma, questioning their choices and futures. Musk himself reflected deeply on the weight of responsibility, understanding more profoundly the sacrifices demanded by such audacity. The vision expanded, permanent space communities beyond hotels, self-sustaining habitats for generations to come. This future promised incredible possibilities but raised profound questions about humanity's place in the universe. Musk and his team bore personal costs, relationships strained, lives disrupted. The glamorous image of space hotels masked a reality of relentless sacrifice and hardship. Yet through it all, Musk's unyielding belief in progress and exploration endured. Looking ahead, he pondered the legacy he would leave. Would this era mark a new chapter for mankind or a fleeting dream? The answer, he hoped, lay in the resilience of those daring enough to reach for the stars. Life is full of surprises, but the human spirit will always lead the way. As the Earth slowly turns beneath a glowing space hotel orbiting high above, the story continues, a reminder that what once seemed impossible is now within reach. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough? Share your thoughts and join the journey beyond our world. What drove a boy from Pretoria to chase the stars, not just as a dream but as a destiny? Elon Musk's early years were a mixture of curiosity, isolation, and fierce determination. Born in 1971 to a Canadian mother, May, a dietitian and model, and Elon Musk, an electromechanical engineer, Elon's upbringing was far from ordinary. From a young age, he displayed an insatiable appetite for learning, often burying himself in books on physics, programming, and science fiction. While other kids played outside, Elon was constructing rudimentary rockets in his backyard or coding his own video games. Yet his childhood was also marked by loneliness and bullying. School wasn't always kind to a boy whose imagination soared higher than most. His relationship with his father was complicated, a mix of admiration and conflict, leaving Elon to lean heavily on the encouragement of his mother and the solace of his inner world. Moving to Canada as a teenager to escape the oppressive apartheid regime in South Africa, Musk faced new challenges, being far from family, struggling to fit in, and navigating a foreign culture. Yet it was here, at Queen's University and later the University of Pennsylvania, that his ambition grew sharper. His mind was set on technology, entrepreneurship, and ultimately, changing the world. Early ventures like Zip2 and X.com were the seedlings of what would become a sprawling vision. But none of these initial successes could prepare him for the colossal challenge of SpaceX. Launching a private space company in a field dominated by governments and billion-dollar agencies was a gamble many thought foolish. The first SpaceX rocket, Falcon 1, was a small but mighty vessel meant to prove private spaceflight was possible. However, the path was littered with failure. The first 3 launches between 2006 and 2008 ended in fiery explosions. Investors grew anxious, employees questioned the mission, Musk himself faced the crushing weight of near bankruptcy. Yet through the darkness, Musk's belief didn't waver. He famously mortgaged his house to keep the company afloat and pushed his team relentlessly toward innovation and precision. The breakthrough came on September 28, 2008, when Falcon 1 successfully reached orbit. The elation was palpable. Musk's gamble had paid off, but the journey was far from over. Now, the stakes were higher than ever. Musk's vision extended beyond Earth's atmosphere, to Mars, a red dot beckoning humanity's next leap. He spoke openly about terraforming the planet, creating sustainable colonies, and securing humanity's future by becoming a multiplanetary species. This dream sparked both admiration and criticism. Scientists marveled at the audacity, skeptics dismissed it as reckless fantasy. Technical challenges loomed large: radiation, distance, life support, propulsion, but Musk's optimism persisted. In parallel, SpaceX achieved another milestone: reusable rockets. The Falcon 9's first successful landing in 2015 was a historic moment, drastically reducing costs and changing spaceflight economics. This achievement emboldened Musk to think bigger, pushing the boundaries towards something once thought purely sci-fi: space hotels. While SpaceX pioneered affordable space travel, Musk's other venture, Tesla, accelerated the transition to sustainable energy on Earth. Tesla's success bolstered Musk's credibility and finances, creating a synergy between electric cars and space rockets. Both companies shared a culture of innovation, risk-taking, and relentless pursuit of the future. However, competition in the private space industry intensified. Blue Origin, founded by Jeff Bezos, and Virgin Galactic, led by Richard Branson, raced toward commercial spaceflight, challenging SpaceX's dominance. This new space race was a blend of rivalry and inspiration, pushing Musk to innovate further. Then came the stunning announcement that captured global headlines: SpaceX planned to build luxury hotels in space. The concept was radical: orbiting habitats offering comfort, breathtaking views of Earth, and a glimpse of a new lifestyle beyond the blue planet. The public reaction was a mix of awe, skepticism, and excitement. Could this be the next frontier in tourism? Musk framed the project not just as a novelty but as an essential step toward normalizing life beyond Earth. Designing these hotels demanded solutions to unprecedented challenges: artificial gravity, radiation protection, life support, and psychological well-being for long-term guests. Teams of engineers, scientists, and architects worked tirelessly to transform ideas into prototypes. Funding hurdles and technical problems tested the project's viability. Yet each breakthrough rekindled hope. Parallel to technical development was the task of preparing humans to live and work in this alien environment. Selecting the first crew blended astronaut rigor with hospitality skills. Candidates underwent grueling training to adapt to zero gravity, confined spaces, and emergency procedures. Emotional resilience was as vital as physical fitness. Bonds formed under pressure, as team members became a family in the void of space. Launch day for the first space hotel module was a tense affair. Moments before liftoff, a critical system malfunction threatened to delay or cancel the mission. Musk's calm decisiveness, supported by the team's expertise, navigated the crisis, and the rocket launched successfully, delivering the module to orbit. The world watched breathlessly. When the first guests arrived months later, the experience was a mixture of wonder and anxiety. Weightlessness sparked joy but also discomfort. Confined quarters led to interpersonal tensions. Yet the human spirit adapted, revealing resilience and camaraderie. Media coverage exploded, with opinions polarized. Enthusiasts hailed it as a new chapter for humanity, critics raised ethical and environmental concerns about space tourism's impact. Then disaster struck. An unexpected system failure jeopardized the space hotel's integrity, forcing a desperate emergency evacuation. The crisis tested every skill and bond, pushing the crew and Musk himself to the limits. Ingenious teamwork and quick decisions averted catastrophe, but not without emotional scars. Survivors grappled with trauma and questioned the price of progress. Musk reflected deeply on the burdens of leadership and the cost of dreaming big. Undeterred, the vision expanded. Permanent space communities, self-sustaining and far beyond mere hotels, were announced. This future promised new societal paradigms and philosophical questions about humanity's role in the cosmos. The sacrifices behind the scenes were immense. Musk and his team endured strained relationships, relentless pressure, and personal losses. The glamour of space was shadowed by the harsh realities of pioneering an entirely new frontier. Yet through every trial, Musk's determination burned brighter. Looking to the future, he pondered the legacy he would leave, not just as a businessman or innovator, but as a man who dared to imagine life beyond Earth. The story of SpaceX and its journey from rocket failures to orbiting hotels reminds us that what once seemed impossible is now within our grasp. Life is full of surprises, but the human spirit will always lead the way. What drives you to keep pushing forward, even when the odds seem insurmountable? Share your thoughts and become part of this extraordinary journey. The moment Elon Musk announced the ambitious plan to build luxury hotels in space, the world stood still. This was no longer just about rockets or Mars colonization, it was about transforming the very idea of human life beyond Earth. The proposal to create orbiting hotels, places where people could not just visit but truly live and experience the cosmos in comfort, seemed like the stuff of science fiction made real. The announcement stirred a whirlwind of reactions, from excitement and wonder to skepticism and concern. Could humanity truly live among the stars, not just as explorers but as residents? What would it mean for the future of travel, society, and our collective dreams? Designing these space hotels was a challenge unlike any before. The teams at SpaceX and partner organizations faced monumental technical obstacles. In zero gravity, conventional architecture meant nothing. Walls, floors, and ceilings were all interchangeable, and everything had to be secured lest it float away. Engineers wrestled with how to simulate gravity through rotation or other methods to ease guests' comfort and health. Radiation posed a silent threat, shielding was critical to protect occupants from cosmic rays and solar flares. Life support systems needed to recycle air and water flawlessly in an enclosed environment. Then there were the psychological challenges. Living in confined quarters far from Earth, without natural sunlight or gravity, could tax even the strongest minds. To address these, specialists in human behavior and design collaborated to create spaces that felt warm, inviting, and connected to Earth, using lighting cycles, greenery, and communal areas to combat isolation. Funding was another hurdle. While Musk's ventures had attracted billions, this project required unprecedented investment. Convincing shareholders and governments that space hotels were not frivolous but a vital step toward humanity's future required vision and tenacity. For every breakthrough, there were setbacks, equipment failures, delays, cost overruns. Each crisis threatened the dream, but Musk's leadership proved unwavering. In parallel, assembling the first space hotel crew became a mission in itself. The team had to be a blend of astronauts and hospitality experts. People who could navigate the dangers of space while providing comfort to guests. They underwent rigorous training, zero-gravity simulations, emergency drills, and psychological preparation for life confined within metal walls circling the planet. Bonds formed quickly. The crew became a family, sharing hopes, fears, and an unspoken understanding that they were pioneers. Launch day arrived amid a swirl of global attention and tension. The world watched as the rocket carrying the first space hotel module prepared for liftoff. Then, disaster nearly struck. A critical system malfunction threatened to abort the mission seconds before ignition. In the control room, Musk remained calm, guiding the team through emergency protocols. With seconds to spare, the issue was resolved, and the rocket soared skyward. Cheers erupted as the module reached orbit and began unfolding, a new home among the stars. Months later, the first guests arrived. For many, it was a dream come true. For others, a test of courage. Weightlessness brought joy and challenge alike. Simple tasks like eating or sleeping required adjustment. Confined quarters and the absence of earthly comfort sparked tensions, yet the shared experience forged connections. The guest stories were broadcast worldwide, inspiring awe and igniting debates. Media coverage painted a picture of wonder and risk. Critics questioned the ethics and environmental impact of space tourism, while enthusiasts saw it as a leap toward a brighter future. Then tragedy struck. A sudden failure in the station's life support system sent alarms blaring. The crew sprang into action, coordinating emergency protocols with speed and precision. Musk watched anxiously from mission control, knowing every second counted. Thanks to teamwork and ingenuity, the crisis was averted, but the emotional toll lingered. Survivors grappled with trauma and questions about the cost of progress. Musk himself wrestled with the burden of leadership and the price of daring to dream big. Despite the hardships, the vision expanded. Musk announced plans for permanent space communities, self-sustaining habitats that could one day support thousands, transforming humanity into a spacefaring civilization. This future promised new opportunities but also raised profound philosophical questions about identity, society, and the meaning of home. Behind the scenes, sacrifices were profound. Musk and his team faced personal losses, broken relationships, and relentless pressure. The glamour of space was shadowed by the harsh realities of pioneering a new frontier. Yet through it all, Musk's determination never faltered. He understood that progress demanded sacrifice and that the human spirit's resilience was the ultimate fuel for exploration. Looking toward the future, Musk pondered his legacy, not just as a visionary entrepreneur but as a man who dared to redefine humanity's destiny. The story of SpaceX and its journey from rocket failures to orbiting hotels reminds us that what once seemed impossible is now within reach. Life is full of surprises, but the human spirit will always lead the way. What pushes you to keep moving forward, even when the path seems impossible? Share your thoughts and be part of this extraordinary journey beyond Earth. The dream of orbiting hotels was no longer just a vision sketched on whiteboards, it was becoming tangible, a reality forged through years of relentless effort, sacrifice, and innovation. But behind the headlines and the public fascination was a complex human story, a tale of challenges, breakthroughs, and the emotional toll of pioneering the final frontier. As the first module of the space hotel took shape in orbit, the world was captivated by the promise of a new kind of travel, one that transcended borders and gravity. The module itself was a marvel of engineering, designed to be both a scientific outpost and a luxurious retreat. Its walls were lined with advanced materials capable of shielding inhabitants from cosmic radiation, and the interiors were crafted with a blend of functionality and comfort, including zero-gravity sleeping pods, hydroponic gardens, and panoramic windows that framed Earth like a jewel in the void. Yet the technical achievements only told part of the story. For the crew and first guests, life aboard the space hotel brought profound psychological and social challenges. Weightlessness, while exhilarating at first, soon required a new kind of adaptation. Simple tasks became exercises in patience and precision. Eating, moving, even communicating demanded new skills. The lack of gravity disrupted circadian rhythms, and the constant hum of life support machinery was a reminder of their fragile existence. Confined within a limited space, social dynamics intensified. Minor disagreements could flare into major conflicts under the pressure of isolation and stress. To prepare for this, behavioral scientists had been deeply involved in crew selection and training, emphasizing emotional resilience, empathy, and conflict resolution. The training was exhaustive, weeks of simulations, isolation experiments, and psychological evaluations, to ensure that the crew could not only survive but thrive in the unique environment. Among the crew was Dr. Lisa Reynolds, a psychologist specializing in human behavior in extreme environments. She observed closely how isolation and weightlessness affected moods and relationships, offering counseling and mediation when tensions arose. Her role became pivotal, revealing that success in space was as much about emotional intelligence as it was about engineering. As guests began arriving, the excitement was palpable. People who had spent their lives dreaming of space suddenly found themselves floating above their home planet, gazing at sunsets that lasted minutes, and witnessing auroras from a perspective few had ever imagined. Their social media posts sparked a global wave of wonder and envy. Yet not all was idyllic. Some guests struggled with space sickness and the psychological weight of confinement. Homesickness hit hard, and the novelty wore off faster than expected. Musk and his team learned that creating a space hotel was not just about technology, it was about crafting an experience that balanced adventure with human needs. Around this time, ethical debates erupted worldwide. Critics questioned the environmental cost of launching such missions and the societal implications of space tourism becoming a playground for the wealthy. Some saw it as a distraction from pressing issues on Earth. Musk responded with unwavering conviction, arguing that exploration was intrinsic to human nature and that space development could drive innovations benefiting all humanity. The media spotlight intensified when a serious malfunction occurred 6 months after the first guests arrived. An unexpected failure in the station's oxygen recycling system. The crisis unfolded over tense hours as engineers on Earth raced to diagnose and fix the problem remotely. Crew members worked in shifts to stabilize the environment, their every breath and heartbeat a testament to human resilience. Thanks to years of preparation and teamwork, disaster was averted. The incident was a stark reminder that space, while wondrous, was unforgiving. The emotional aftermath lingered. Crew members experienced heightened anxiety and flashbacks, some questioning whether the risks were worth the reward. Musk himself publicly acknowledged the psychological cost of pushing humanity's boundaries but reaffirmed his belief in the mission's importance. In the years that followed, lessons from these early missions shaped improvements in design, training, and support systems. The space hotel evolved from a fragile prototype to a more robust habitat, equipped with artificial gravity modules and enhanced life support technologies. Expansion plans unfolded. Additional modules for research, recreation, and permanent residence. The vision grew bolder, a thriving space community, a stepping stone toward Mars colonization. Yet, with progress came sacrifices. Behind the scenes, Musk's relentless drive took a personal toll. Relationships strained under the weight of endless demands and long absences. The team experienced burnout, and the public sometimes glimpsed the darker side of visionary leadership, conflict, controversy, and moments of doubt. But through it all, a deep camaraderie persisted. The people who lived and worked on this frontier shared a bond forged in adversity and hope. They believed in something greater than themselves, a future where humanity was not bound to Earth but free to explore, learn, and grow among the stars. Reflecting on this journey, Musk often spoke about legacy. Not just his own, but that of the generations to come. He envisioned a world where space travel was as common as air travel, where children dreamed not just of earthly adventures but of lives among the planets. The story of SpaceX's rise from failures to orbiting hotels was a testament to human ingenuity, courage, and the unyielding spirit of exploration. It taught that the path to the stars was paved with setbacks and triumphs alike and that every step forward required sacrifice and resilience. Life is full of surprises, but the human spirit will always lead the way. As the space hotels expand and humanity takes its next steps into the cosmos, the question remains, what will we discover about ourselves along the way? What pushes you to keep dreaming, keep striving, even when the journey feels impossible? Share your story and join this incredible adventure beyond our world. Elon Musk's vision of humanity as a multiplanetary species is no longer confined to the pages of science fiction, it's rapidly unfolding in real time. Yet, the journey from launching rockets to building space hotels was far more complex and deeply human than most people realize. At the heart of this story lies not just engineering feats or business deals, but a profound transformation, of technology, of society, and of the people daring to reach beyond Earth's bounds. When SpaceX first launched Falcon 1, the company's inaugural rocket, it marked a critical moment in private spaceflight history. The initial failures, 3 consecutive unsuccessful launches, nearly bankrupted the company. Musk's personal fortune and the morale of his team were on the line. But instead of surrendering to despair, Musk channeled those early defeats into fuel for relentless innovation. This period forged a culture at SpaceX that prized persistence and embraced risk as a necessity for breakthrough. The success of Falcon 1's 4th launch, reaching orbit in 2008, was a pivotal turning point. It proved that private companies could access space affordably and reliably, upending decades of government monopoly. Building on that foundation, SpaceX pushed boundaries further by developing the Falcon 9 rocket and pioneering reusable rocket technology. The first successful landing of Falcon 9's first stage in 2015 stunned the aerospace world and dramatically lowered costs, opening the door for more ambitious projects. The breakthrough in reusable rockets was not just technical but philosophical, a shift toward sustainability and scalability in space travel. Meanwhile, Musk's vision extended beyond Earth's orbit. His ideas about colonizing Mars, once considered a pipe dream, gained serious traction. He articulated a roadmap for establishing self-sustaining cities on the Red Planet, complete with renewable energy, agriculture, and habitats shielded from radiation. This plan wasn't just about survival, it was about making humanity a multiplanetary species to ensure its long-term future. These ambitions inspired a new wave of interest and investment in space exploration, catalyzing partnerships and innovations worldwide. Alongside SpaceX's rocket programs, the notion of space tourism emerged as an exciting frontier. Musk recognized that for humanity to truly inhabit space, it had to become accessible not only to scientists and astronauts but also to ordinary people. This led to the idea of orbiting hotels, luxurious habitats offering Earthlings an unprecedented experience of life beyond the planet. Designing these hotels was an immense challenge. The engineers had to reconcile the constraints of zero gravity, radiation exposure, life support, and psychological well-being into a cohesive, livable space. Rotational sections simulated gravity, while cutting-edge shielding technologies minimized radiation risks. Hydroponic gardens provided fresh air and food, creating a sense of connection to Earth. Every detail, from sleep pods to communal spaces, was crafted to balance safety and comfort. Yet technology was only one piece of the puzzle. Preparing humans for extended stays in space required breakthroughs in training and psychological support. Crew members and guests underwent rigorous preparation to adapt physically and mentally to microgravity and confined environments. Specialists studied how isolation affected mood, cognition, and social dynamics, developing protocols to maintain morale and teamwork. Despite meticulous preparation, the first missions revealed unexpected realities. Space sickness, fatigue, and emotional strain tested even the most resilient individuals. Confined quarters led to interpersonal conflicts, underscoring the importance of psychological support and communication. These lessons reshaped training programs and habitat design, emphasizing not only survival but thriving in space. The public's response to space hotels was a mixture of awe, excitement, and criticism. Enthusiasts hailed this as a milestone in human achievement and a step toward democratizing space. Others questioned the environmental impact of frequent launches and the ethics of space tourism as a luxury for the wealthy. Musk addressed these concerns by emphasizing SpaceX's commitment to sustainability, reusability, and long-term benefits for humanity. The company invested heavily in green technologies and partnered with environmental organizations to mitigate impacts. Tragedy and triumph intertwined during this era. A critical failure in the life support system of the first space hotel module triggered an emergency evacuation. The crew's quick thinking and rigorous training averted disaster, but the incident cast a spotlight on the dangers inherent in pioneering such uncharted territory. The emotional aftermath was profound. Crew members grappled with trauma, raising awareness of mental health as a critical aspect of space missions. Despite setbacks, the project pressed forward. Space hotels evolved from fragile prototypes into resilient habitats with enhanced safety features and amenities. New modules expanded capacity and introduced recreational and research spaces, enabling longer stays and more complex missions. The vision grew bolder: permanent space communities orbiting Earth and eventually Mars, where humans could live, work, and thrive. Behind the scenes, Musk's leadership style, intense, demanding, visionary, shaped every aspect of this transformation. His willingness to take enormous risks, coupled with a deep belief in humanity's destiny among the stars, inspired his team to push past limits. Yet this came with costs, personal sacrifices, strained relationships, and moments of public controversy. Musk's story revealed that pioneering the future is as much about human resilience as technological innovation. Today, as orbiting hotels welcome guests and new communities form in space, the dream that once seemed distant now feels tangible. Musk's vision continues to evolve, pushing humanity to redefine its place in the cosmos. The story of SpaceX and space hotels is a testament to what is possible when imagination meets perseverance. Life is full of surprises, but the human spirit will always lead the way. What drives you to pursue your dreams, no matter the obstacles? Share your journey and be part of humanity's next great adventure. Elon Musk's journey from launching rockets to creating space hotels is a saga of relentless ambition, innovation, and the unyielding human spirit. While headlines often focus on technical milestones or headline-grabbing launches, the real story unfolds in the lives of the people, engineers, astronauts, guests, and Musk himself, who dared to push humanity beyond its terrestrial confines. Behind the gleaming modules orbiting Earth lies a web of human struggles, triumphs, and transformations that illuminate the profound cost and reward of space exploration. The initial years of SpaceX were marked by grit and hardship. Musk's own biography reveals a man driven by a deep sense of purpose but not immune to doubt and sacrifice. His early ventures, PayPal, Zip2, provided the capital but not the answers. When SpaceX faced its first 3 rocket failures, many doubted the company's survival. Musk mortgaged his own home, funneled his fortune into the venture, and pushed his team harder than ever. Those failures, though painful, became a crucible forging the culture of resilience that would define SpaceX. The launch of Falcon 1 into orbit in 2008 was more than a technical success, it was a validation of the vision that private enterprise could democratize space access. This victory unleashed a cascade of innovation: Falcon 9, Dragon spacecraft, and the pioneering of reusable rockets. The breakthrough with reusable first stages was transformative, cutting launch costs dramatically and turning spaceflight into a sustainable enterprise. As SpaceX's capabilities grew, Musk's vision expanded beyond Earth's orbit. He unveiled plans for Mars colonization, describing a city on the red planet powered by solar energy, growing its own food, and shielded from radiation. This audacious plan captured imaginations worldwide, sparking debates about humanity's future. Yet Musk understood that Mars colonization required intermediate steps, including creating sustainable habitats in Earth orbit. The concept of space hotels emerged from this vision, not merely tourist destinations but living, breathing communities in space. Designing these hotels demanded solving unprecedented challenges. Architects and engineers rethought every aspect of habitation. Artificial gravity was achieved through rotating modules, mimicking Earth's pull to ease health issues caused by microgravity. Advanced radiation shielding using layered materials protected occupants from cosmic rays and solar storms. Hydroponic farms inside the hotel supplied fresh food and oxygen, fostering a connection to Earth's biosphere. But beyond hardware, psychological well-being was paramount. Isolation and confinement can erode mental health. To combat this, the design incorporated communal spaces, naturalistic lighting cycles, and even virtual reality zones to simulate Earth environments. Crew and guests underwent extensive psychological preparation, learning to manage stress, communication, and teamwork in confined quarters. Early missions to the space hotel tested these innovations but also revealed new challenges. Space sickness, fatigue, and emotional strain were common. Confined spaces led to interpersonal tensions, requiring trained mediators and mental health support. These human factors shaped continual improvements in habitat design and crew training. The arrival of the first guests marked a milestone. For many, the experience was transformative, witnessing Earth from orbit, floating weightless, and sharing an extraordinary adventure. Social media buzzed with images and stories that inspired millions. Yet the high cost and risks limited access initially, raising ethical debates about space tourism's accessibility and environmental impact. Musk addressed concerns by emphasizing SpaceX's commitment to sustainability, reusability, and a vision of space development benefiting all humanity. A sobering moment came when a life support failure forced an emergency evacuation of the station's occupants. The incident highlighted space's unforgiving nature and the critical importance of training and preparedness. Emotional scars from the crisis underscored the mental toll of space pioneering, prompting renewed focus on psychological care. Despite adversity, the Space Hotel project advanced. Modules expanded, amenities improved, and longer stays became feasible. Musk announced plans for permanent space communities, laying groundwork for humanity's next leap to Mars. This era witnessed Musk's personal and leadership challenges. His relentless pace strained relationships and sparked controversies, yet his vision inspired a dedicated team united by a shared mission. The narrative of SpaceX's rise from failures to orbiting hotels encapsulates a profound lesson: progress demands resilience, sacrifice, and a bold embrace of uncertainty. As humanity steps boldly into space, Musk's journey reminds us that the future is forged by those who dare to dream beyond limits. Life is full of surprises, but the human spirit will always lead the way. What keeps you pushing forward, even when the path seems impossible? Share your story and join the journey beyond our world. Elon Musk's vision of transforming humanity into a spacefaring civilization has steadily evolved from an audacious dream into a tangible reality, marked by groundbreaking achievements and formidable challenges. The story of SpaceX's journey toward building orbiting space hotels is not just a tale of rockets and technology, it is a profound human drama of ambition, resilience, and the pursuit of something greater than ourselves. In the earliest days, SpaceX's mission was to prove that private enterprise could revolutionize space travel. After the heartbreak of 3 failed Falcon 9 launches, Musk's unwavering resolve galvanized a team determined to succeed against the odds. The triumphant 4th launch in 2008 was a turning point that set the stage for even bolder endeavors. From there, innovations cascaded: the development of the reusable Falcon 9 rocket, the Dragon spacecraft's historic cargo and crew missions to the International Space Station, and breakthroughs that redefined cost and accessibility in spaceflight. Musk's vision expanded beyond Earth's orbit, focusing on Mars colonization as a long-term goal to safeguard humanity's future. However, the road to interplanetary settlement required incremental steps, including the creation of sustainable habitats in Earth's orbit. This led to the pioneering concept of space hotels. Structures designed not just for brief visits but for extended stays, offering safety, comfort, and community among the stars. The engineering challenges were immense. Habitats had to mitigate the effects of microgravity, protect occupants from cosmic radiation, and sustain life indefinitely. Rotational modules simulated gravity to maintain health, while multi-layered shielding blocked harmful particles. Hydroponic gardens recycled air and water, providing fresh produce and a vital psychological link to Earth's ecosystem. Yet these technical feats only told part of the story. Understanding and addressing human psychology in space proved equally critical. Extended isolation and confinement posed serious mental health risks, from depression to conflict among crew and guests. Architects and psychologists collaborated to design environments fostering social interaction, emotional well-being, and a sense of normalcy. Natural lighting cycles, communal spaces, and virtual reality experiences helped counteract the challenges of living in space. The first missions to the space hotels brought these efforts to life but also revealed unforeseen difficulties. Many visitors experienced space adaptation syndrome, grappling with nausea and disorientation. The confined quarters amplified social tensions, requiring skilled mediation and psychological support. These early experiences informed continual improvements in training and habitat design, emphasizing resilience and community. Public reaction was a mix of awe and skepticism. Space hotels captivated imaginations worldwide, offering a glimpse of humanity's future beyond Earth. Yet critics raised ethical questions about environmental impacts, inequality, and the prioritization of space tourism over terrestrial concerns. Musk addressed these critiques by underscoring SpaceX's commitment to sustainable, reusable technology and framing space exploration as a catalyst for innovation benefiting all life on Earth. The journey was not without setbacks. A critical failure in the station's life support system led to an emergency evacuation, underscoring space's inherent risks. The crew's rapid response and rigorous training averted disaster, but the incident left emotional scars, highlighting the toll of pioneering this new frontier. These challenges only deepened Musk's resolve to push forward. The Space Hotel project matured into a complex ecosystem with expanded capacity, improved safety systems, and enhanced amenities. Plans for permanent orbital communities and eventual Martian colonies materialized, propelling humanity toward a multiplanetary future. Behind the scenes, Musk's leadership style, intense, visionary, sometimes controversial, shaped the trajectory of this endeavor. His willingness to embrace risk inspired his team but also exacted personal costs, including strained relationships and public scrutiny. Yet his passion and conviction galvanized a generation driven by purpose. The story of SpaceX and its orbiting hotels embodies a timeless truth: progress demands resilience, sacrifice, and the courage to dream beyond conventional limits. It reminds us that the future belongs to those who dare to push boundaries and imagine new possibilities. Life is full of surprises, but the human spirit will always lead the way. As we look toward the stars and the communities humanity will build there, what drives you to pursue your dreams, no matter the obstacles? Share your story and join the extraordinary journey beyond our world. Elon Musk's journey from the earliest days of SpaceX to the dawn of orbiting space hotels is a testament to human ingenuity, perseverance, and vision. It's a story that transcends technology. One about people who dared to reimagine what's possible and faced immense challenges to bring a sci-fi dream into reality. The saga began with Musk's belief that humanity must become a multiplanetary species to survive long-term threats. The failures of SpaceX's first 3 Falcon 9 launches tested the team's spirit, nearly causing the company to collapse. Musk invested his own fortune and pushed his team relentlessly, refusing to accept defeat. When Falcon 9 finally reached orbit in 2008, it marked a watershed moment in private spaceflight and laid the foundation for everything that followed. Building on that success, SpaceX developed Falcon 9 and the Dragon spacecraft, introducing reusability to drastically cut launch costs. The first successful vertical landing of Falcon 9's first stage in 2015 revolutionized space travel economics, making ambitious projects like space hotels financially feasible. Musk's vision went beyond Earth's orbit. He unveiled plans for Mars colonization, cities powered by renewable energy, capable of sustaining human life far from Earth. However, he recognized that building infrastructure and experience in Earth orbit was essential first. The concept of space hotels emerged as a crucial stepping stone, serving not only tourism but also research and community development in space. Designing these hotels presented unprecedented engineering challenges. To simulate gravity and counteract the health impacts of microgravity, rotating habitats were developed. Advanced radiation shielding techniques protected occupants from solar and cosmic radiation. Hydroponic systems grew fresh food and recycled air and water, creating a closed-loop ecosystem. Equally important was addressing psychological well-being. Isolation and confinement posed risks of anxiety, depression, and interpersonal conflicts. Designers incorporated natural light cycles, communal areas, and virtual reality environments to mitigate these effects. Crew and guests underwent extensive training to prepare for the unique physical and mental demands of space living. Initial missions highlighted both the excitement and the difficulty of this new frontier. Space adaptation syndrome affected many, with nausea and disorientation common. Confined spaces intensified social dynamics, requiring strong communication and conflict resolution skills. These lessons guided continuous improvements in habitat design and support systems. Public fascination grew as social media exploded with stunning images and stories from orbit. Yet the exclusivity and environmental costs of space tourism sparked debate. Musk emphasized SpaceX's commitment to sustainability through reusable rockets and responsible launch practices, arguing that space development would yield technologies benefiting Earth. A sobering crisis occurred when a critical life support malfunction forced an emergency evacuation of the space hotel. The crew's rapid response and comprehensive training prevented tragedy but underscored the risks of pioneering space habitation. Emotional aftereffects revealed the psychological toll of space living, prompting increased mental health support for crew members. Despite setbacks, the project advanced rapidly. New modules expanded capacity and amenities, enabling longer missions and a growing spacefaring community. Musk announced plans for permanent orbital settlements and eventual Mars colonies, transforming science fiction into near-term reality. Behind the headlines, Musk's leadership was both inspiring and demanding. His intense drive pushed his team to extraordinary achievements but came with personal costs, strained relationships and moments of public controversy. Still, his unwavering vision united those who shared his dream of expanding humanity's horizon. The story of SpaceX and space hotels teaches that human progress requires resilience, sacrifice, and the courage to dream beyond limits. It reminds us that the future is shaped by those who embrace uncertainty and strive for something greater. Life is full of surprises, but the human spirit will always lead the way. As we embark on humanity's next great adventure among the stars, what drives you to pursue your dreams, no matter the obstacles? Share your story and become part of the journey beyond our world. Elon Musk's vision of transforming humanity into a multiplanetary species is not just a tale of rockets and technology, it is an epic journey filled with perseverance, innovation, and the deeply human desire to explore and expand beyond known horizons. The story begins in the early days of SpaceX, when Musk's bold dream faced seemingly insurmountable odds. The company's first 3 Falcon 1 rockets failed to reach orbit, draining resources and morale. Musk, risking his personal fortune and reputation, refused to give up. He pushed his team to overcome technical failures and redesign systems relentlessly. When Falcon 1 succeeded in 2008, it was more than a technical milestone, it was a testament to the power of resilience and visionary leadership. From that breakthrough, SpaceX rapidly advanced, developing the Falcon 9 rocket and pioneering reusable technology that drastically reduced launch costs and increased reliability. The dramatic first-stage landing of Falcon 9 in 2015 rewrote the rules of spaceflight economics, making Musk's expansive plans feasible. Musk's ambitions extended far beyond Earth. He unveiled a roadmap to colonize Mars, envisioning self-sustaining cities powered by renewable energy, growing their own food, and protected from cosmic radiation. But before humanity could take that giant leap, Musk recognized the importance of mastering long-term habitation in Earth orbit. The concept of space hotels emerged as a stepping stone, facilities designed to offer safety, comfort, and community for extended stays, blending tourism with scientific research and habitation practice. Designing these space hotels required addressing unprecedented challenges. Engineers crafted rotating habitats to simulate gravity, minimizing health issues caused by weightlessness. Multi-layered radiation shields protected inhabitants from harmful solar and cosmic rays. Hydroponic gardens supplied fresh food and recycled air and water, fostering a small ecosystem that sustained life and boosted morale. Yet technical innovation was only part of the equation. Human psychology in space demanded careful attention. Extended confinement and isolation risked emotional distress and interpersonal conflict. Architects and psychologists collaborated to create environments promoting social interaction, mental well-being, and a sense of normalcy. Natural lighting cycles mimicked Earth's day and night rhythms, communal spaces encouraged connection, and virtual reality zones provided immersive escapes to Earth-like environments. Crew members and guests underwent rigorous physical and psychological training to prepare for the rigors of space living. Initial missions to the space hotels brought excitement but also revealed new challenges. Space adaptation syndrome, nausea, dizziness, and disorientation affected many visitors. The cramped quarters heightened social tensions, requiring skilled mediation and psychological support. These experiences drove ongoing improvements in habitat design, crew training, and support systems, emphasizing resilience and community. Public fascination with space hotels soared as stunning photos and personal stories from orbit spread on social media. The vision of humans living and thriving in space captured imaginations worldwide. However, critics raised ethical concerns about the environmental impact of frequent rocket launches, the exclusivity of space tourism, and the prioritization of space luxury over earthly needs. Musk responded by emphasizing SpaceX's commitment to sustainability through reusable rocket technology and framing space exploration as a driver of innovation benefiting life on Earth. A sobering crisis tested the resilience of the Space Hotel project. A critical failure in the life support system forced an emergency evacuation. The crew's swift action and training prevented catastrophe, but the incident underscored the risks of pioneering new frontiers. Emotional scars from the event highlighted the importance of mental health care for spacefarers. Despite setbacks, the Space Hotel evolved rapidly. Expanded modules increased capacity and amenities, enabling longer missions and a growing orbital community. Musk's vision for permanent space habitats and Martian colonies gained momentum, turning science fiction into near-term reality. Behind the scenes, Musk's leadership was a force of nature, demanding, visionary, and sometimes controversial. His unrelenting drive inspired extraordinary achievements but exacted personal costs, including strained relationships and public scrutiny. Yet his passion united a team committed to pushing humanity's boundaries. The story of SpaceX and space hotels reveals a timeless truth: progress demands resilience, sacrifice, and the courage to dream beyond limits. It reminds us that the future belongs to those who embrace uncertainty and strive for greatness. Life is full of surprises, but the human spirit will always lead the way. As humanity embarks on its next great adventure among the stars, what fuels your drive to pursue dreams, no matter the obstacles? Share your story and join the extraordinary journey beyond our world. Elon Musk's vision of taking humanity beyond Earth's bounds has transformed from ambitious dreams into real, tangible milestones, charting a course toward a future where space travel and habitation become routine parts of life. His journey, marked by daring risks, technical breakthroughs, and human stories of perseverance, offers a profound insight into what it means to push boundaries in pursuit of the extraordinary. The early days of SpaceX were fraught with challenges. After the heartbreak of 3 consecutive Falcon 9 launch failures, many doubted whether the company could survive. Musk, however, committed his personal wealth and unwavering focus to the mission. He inspired a team driven by the belief that private enterprise could redefine spaceflight. When Falcon 9 finally reached orbit in 2008, it wasn't just a success in engineering but a triumph of persistence. This victory laid the foundation for a series of innovations that reshaped the aerospace industry. The development of Falcon 9 rockets, capable of vertical landing and reuse, drastically cut costs and turnaround times, enabling more frequent launches. The Dragon spacecraft successfully ferried cargo, and later astronauts, to the International Space Station, bridging public and private space collaboration. Yet Musk's vision extended far beyond Earth's orbit. He articulated a bold plan to colonize Mars, envisioning cities that would harness renewable energy, cultivate their own food, and thrive in a hostile environment. Understanding that such an ambition required stepwise progress, Musk advocated for developing sustainable habitats in Earth orbit first. This gave rise to the idea of space hotels, places where people could live, work, and experience space for extended periods. The design and construction of these space hotels posed unprecedented engineering challenges. Microgravity's effects on human health necessitated rotating habitats that simulated Earth-like gravity. Protection from cosmic radiation was paramount, leading to the development of innovative shielding techniques using layered materials and water storage. Hydroponic farming systems provided fresh food, recycled air and water, and helped maintain psychological well-being. Addressing the human side of space habitation was as critical as technical solutions. Prolonged isolation and confined spaces risked psychological distress, conflict, and loneliness. Architects collaborated with psychologists to create environments promoting social interaction, mental health, and a connection to Earth. Natural light cycles, communal areas, and virtual reality experiences were integrated to mimic terrestrial environments and alleviate the alienation of space living. Crew members and guests underwent extensive physical and psychological preparation to handle the stresses unique to space. The initial missions to the space hotels brought excitement and valuable lessons. Many visitors experienced space adaptation syndrome, struggling with nausea and disorientation. Confined living quarters heighten social tensions, requiring effective communication strategies and mental health support. These experiences informed ongoing enhancements in design, training, and support systems, emphasizing community and resilience. Public fascination with space hotels surged as breathtaking images and first-hand accounts spread via social media. The idea of humans living and thriving in orbit inspired millions. However, debates emerged regarding the environmental impact of rocket launches, the exclusivity of space tourism, and prioritizing luxury experiences over pressing terrestrial issues. Musk addressed these concerns by highlighting SpaceX's commitment to sustainability through reusable technology and framing space exploration as a catalyst for innovations benefiting Earth's environment and economy. A critical test of the space hotel's safety came when a life support system malfunction forced an emergency evacuation. The crew's rapid and disciplined response prevented disaster but underscored the inherent dangers of space. Emotional and psychological aftereffects from the incident led to renewed focus on mental health care for space residents. Despite challenges, the project advanced rapidly. Expanded modules increased capacity and amenities, supporting longer stays and a growing orbital community. Musk's vision of permanent space habitats and eventual Martian colonies gained traction, transforming science fiction into near-term reality. Behind the scenes, Musk's leadership was both inspiring and intense. His relentless drive and high expectations fueled groundbreaking achievements but also strained personal relationships and invited public scrutiny. Nonetheless, his passion united a team dedicated to expanding humanity's frontiers. The story of SpaceX and its space hotels reveals a timeless truth: true progress demands resilience, sacrifice, and the courage to dream beyond limits. It reminds us that the future belongs to those who embrace uncertainty and strive for greatness. Life is full of surprises, but the human spirit will always lead the way. As humanity embarks on this unprecedented journey among the stars, what fuels your drive to pursue your dreams, despite the obstacles? Share your story and join the extraordinary adventure beyond our world. Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough? Elon Musk's vision to transform humanity into a multiplanetary species is one of the most ambitious undertakings of our time, marked by relentless innovation, personal sacrifice, and the drive to push beyond Earth's boundaries. The story of SpaceX's rise from uncertain beginnings to pioneering space hotels in orbit captures not just technological triumphs but the deeply human quest to explore, connect, and survive. In the early years, SpaceX's journey was far from smooth. Musk's decision to found a private aerospace company was met with skepticism and doubt, especially after 3 consecutive failures of the Falcon 9 rocket. These setbacks drained resources and morale, nearly ending the dream before it began. Musk invested his own fortune, took enormous risks, and instilled a culture of resilience and perseverance. The successful launch of Falcon 9 in 2008 was a turning point that proved private companies could challenge government agencies in spaceflight. This breakthrough ignited a wave of innovation, the development of the reusable Falcon 9 rocket and the Dragon capsule, capable of carrying cargo and astronauts to the International Space Station. The ability to reuse rocket stages drastically cut launch costs and increased flight frequency, laying the groundwork for larger, more ambitious projects. Musk's ambitions went well beyond Earth orbit. He envisioned Mars as humanity's backup plan, a new home to ensure our species' survival. The plan involved creating self-sustaining cities powered by renewable energy, growing food locally, and shielding residents from radiation. Recognizing the need for incremental progress, Musk saw space hotels as an essential stepping stone, habitats orbiting Earth that would serve as research hubs, tourist destinations, and training grounds for long-term space living. Designing these hotels required solving unprecedented challenges. Rotating habitats simulated Earth-like gravity to counteract microgravity's harmful effects. Radiation shielding used innovative layered materials and water barriers. Hydroponic farms recycled water and air while producing fresh food, creating a closed-loop ecosystem that sustained both body and mind. Addressing psychological health was as important as physical safety. Prolonged isolation and confinement risked depression, anxiety, and social conflict. Architects and psychologists collaborated to create environments promoting social connection, mental well-being, and a sense of normalcy. Natural lighting cycles mimicked Earth's rhythms, communal spaces encouraged interaction, and virtual reality offered immersive escapes to terrestrial scenes. Crew and guests underwent rigorous preparation to manage the stresses of space living. Early missions tested these innovations but also revealed new difficulties. Space adaptation syndrome, nausea, dizziness, and disorientation, affected many travelers. The tight quarters intensified interpersonal tensions, requiring strong communication and conflict resolution skills. These experiences led to continuous improvements in habitat design, training, and support systems, fostering resilience and community. Public fascination grew as social media shared stunning images and stories from space hotels. The prospect of humans living and thriving in orbit captured imaginations worldwide. Yet critics questioned the environmental cost of rocket launches, the exclusivity of space tourism, and the prioritization of luxury space experiences over urgent Earth concerns. Musk emphasized SpaceX's commitment to sustainability through reusable rockets and framed space development as a driver of innovations benefiting the planet. A critical test of the space hotel's safety came with a life support failure that forced an emergency evacuation. The crew's swift, disciplined response averted disaster, but the incident underscored the dangers inherent in pioneering space habitation. Emotional aftermath highlighted the need for enhanced mental health support for spacefarers. Despite setbacks, the Space Hotel project advanced rapidly. Expanded modules increased capacity and amenities, enabling longer stays and a growing spacefaring community. Musk's vision of permanent orbital habitats and Martian colonies moved closer to reality, transforming science fiction into achievable goals. Behind the scenes, Musk's leadership was intense and sometimes controversial. His unrelenting drive pushed his team to extraordinary achievements but also strained relationships and invited public scrutiny. Nevertheless, his passion united a dedicated group committed to expanding humanity's frontiers. The story of SpaceX and space hotels offers a powerful lesson: true progress requires resilience, sacrifice, and the courage to dream beyond limits. It reminds us that the future belongs to those who embrace uncertainty and strive for greatness. Life is full of surprises, but the human spirit will always lead the way. As humanity embarks on its next great adventure among the stars, what drives you to pursue your dreams despite challenges? Share your story and join the extraordinary journey beyond our world. Elon Musk's vision of transforming humanity into a multiplanetary species stands as one of the most ambitious, awe-inspiring endeavors of the 21st century. It's a story of innovation, relentless perseverance, and the quest to expand human presence beyond Earth. From the early struggles of SpaceX to the futuristic concept of orbiting space hotels, Musk's journey reveals both the triumphs and trials of turning science fiction into reality. The beginning was far from smooth. In 2002, when Musk founded SpaceX, private spaceflight was largely uncharted territory, dominated by government agencies with vast resources. SpaceX's first 3 Falcon 9 rockets failed to reach orbit, threatening to end the company before it truly began. Musk risked his entire fortune and reputation, driving his team through countless setbacks. When Falcon 9 finally achieved orbit in 2008, it was more than a technical victory. It was a pivotal moment that demonstrated private enterprise could break into space exploration. This success led to the development of Falcon 9 rockets, designed with reusability in mind. The first successful landing of a Falcon 9 first stage in 2015 revolutionized spaceflight economics by drastically reducing launch costs and turnaround times. SpaceX's Dragon spacecraft began ferrying cargo, and later astronauts, to the International Space Station, marking a new era of public-private cooperation in space. Musk's vision extended well beyond Earth. He aimed to establish self-sustaining colonies on Mars, cities powered by renewable energy and capable of supporting human life despite the harsh environment. But before humanity could settle on another planet, Musk recognized the need to master long-duration living in Earth orbit. This realization led to the idea of space hotels. Habitats where people could stay for extended periods, combining tourism, research, and preparation for interplanetary life. Designing these space hotels required overcoming unique engineering challenges. Microgravity's adverse effects on human health meant rotating habitats were developed to simulate Earth-like gravity. Radiation shielding was critical to protect inhabitants from cosmic rays and solar flares, employing advanced multi-layered materials and water tanks as barriers. Hydroponic gardens recycled air and water while producing fresh food, creating a self-sustaining ecosystem. Equally important was addressing the psychological impact of living in space. Prolonged isolation and confinement risked mental health issues such as anxiety, depression, and interpersonal conflict. Architects and psychologists worked together to design environments that promoted social interaction, emotional well-being, and a sense of normalcy. Natural lighting mimicked Earth's day-night cycles, communal spaces fostered community, and virtual reality provided immersive escapes to terrestrial environments. Crew and guests underwent extensive training to prepare for the physical and psychological demands of space living. Initial missions to space hotels brought excitement but also revealed unforeseen difficulties. Space adaptation syndrome caused nausea and disorientation in many travelers. Confined quarters heightened social tensions, necessitating effective communication and conflict resolution strategies. These experiences guided ongoing improvements in habitat design and crew support, emphasizing resilience and community. Public fascination with space hotels soared as stunning images and stories from orbit circulated on social media. The dream of humans living and thriving in space captured imaginations worldwide. Yet critics raised ethical concerns about environmental impacts, exclusivity, and prioritizing space tourism over urgent earthly problems. Musk responded by emphasizing SpaceX's commitment to sustainability through reusable rockets and portraying space exploration as a catalyst for innovation benefiting Earth's environment and economy. A critical moment tested the space hotel's resilience when a life support system malfunction forced an emergency evacuation. The crew's rapid, disciplined response averted disaster but highlighted the inherent risks of pioneering space habitation. The psychological aftermath underscored the need for enhanced mental health support for spacefarers. Despite setbacks, the Space Hotel project progressed rapidly. Expanded modules increased capacity and amenities, enabling longer missions and a burgeoning orbital community. Musk's vision for permanent space habitats and Martian colonies moved from concept to achievable goals. Behind the scenes, Musk's leadership was intense and sometimes controversial. His unrelenting drive pushed his team to extraordinary achievements but came at personal costs, including strained relationships and public scrutiny. Yet his passion inspired a dedicated group committed to expanding humanity's horizons. The story of SpaceX and space hotels is a powerful reminder: progress demands resilience, sacrifice, and the courage to dream beyond limits. It teaches us that the future belongs to those who embrace uncertainty and strive for greatness. Life is full of surprises, but the human spirit will always lead the way. As humanity embarks on its next great adventure among the stars, what drives you to pursue your dreams despite challenges? Share your story and become part of this extraordinary journey beyond our world. Elon Musk's extraordinary journey from launching SpaceX with a dream to pioneering the concept of space hotels marks a defining chapter in humanity's quest to explore the cosmos. His vision, once dismissed as science fiction, is now rapidly becoming reality, driven by relentless innovation, strategic risk-taking, and a profound belief in our destiny among the stars. The early struggles of SpaceX set the stage for this epic story. After founding the company in 2002, Musk faced a series of setbacks that could have easily ended his venture. The first 3 launches of the Falcon 9 rocket failed spectacularly, draining financial resources and testing the morale of his team. Yet Musk's commitment never wavered. Drawing from his background in software and electric cars, he applied a startup mentality to aerospace, emphasizing rapid iteration, learning from failure, and pushing boundaries. When Falcon 1 successfully reached orbit in 2008, it was more than a technical achievement, it symbolized a shift in the space industry, demonstrating that private companies could compete with government agencies. This breakthrough propelled SpaceX forward, leading to the development of the Falcon 9 rocket and the Dragon spacecraft. The game-changing innovation was reusability. The ability to land and reuse rocket boosters drastically reduced costs and turnaround times. The first successful landing of Falcon 9's first stage in 2015 was a historic moment that redefined what was possible. Musk's vision, however, extended far beyond Earth's orbit. He envisaged Mars as a new frontier for human civilization, a place where self-sustaining colonies could thrive powered by renewable energy, protected from radiation, and capable of supporting life. Recognizing the immense challenges of interplanetary travel, Musk championed a stepwise approach, beginning with developing sustainable habitats in Earth orbit, space hotels that could serve as research centers, tourist destinations, and training grounds for long-term space living. The design and construction of these space hotels pushed the boundaries of engineering and human factor science. Microgravity presented health risks, leading to innovations like rotating habitats to simulate Earth-like gravity. Radiation shielding involved advanced materials and water barriers to protect occupants from cosmic rays and solar flares. Hydroponic gardens created closed-loop ecosystems, recycling air and water while providing fresh food. Psychological well-being was prioritized through thoughtful design, natural lighting mimicked Earth's day-night cycle, communal spaces encouraged social interaction, and virtual reality offered immersive escapes to familiar earthly environments. The psychological demands of prolonged isolation and confinement required extensive training for crew members and guests, preparing them to handle stress, loneliness, and interpersonal dynamics. Early missions to the space hotels were a mix of excitement and challenge. Space adaptation syndrome caused nausea and disorientation among many travelers. The confined quarters sometimes led to tension, requiring effective communication and conflict management. These experiences informed continuous improvements in habitat design, training, and support systems, reinforcing the importance of resilience and community in space. The public's fascination with space hotels grew as stunning images and first-hand accounts circulated widely. The prospect of living and working in orbit captivated imaginations, inspiring a new generation to dream big. However, critics voiced concerns about the environmental impact of rocket launches, the exclusivity of space tourism, and the ethical implications of investing in space luxury amid Earth's pressing problems. Musk addressed these criticisms by emphasizing SpaceX's commitment to sustainability through reusable technology and framing space exploration as a catalyst for technological advancements benefiting Earth's environment and economy. A pivotal moment tested the space hotel's safety when a life support system failure forced an emergency evacuation. The crew's swift, disciplined response averted disaster but underscored the inherent risks of pioneering space habitation. The psychological aftermath highlighted the need for comprehensive mental health support for space residents. Despite setbacks, the space hotel project advanced rapidly. Expanded modules increased capacity and amenities, enabling longer stays and fostering a growing orbital community. Musk's vision of permanent space habitats and Martian colonies moved from speculative concept to achievable reality. Behind the scenes, Musk's leadership was intense and sometimes controversial. His relentless drive pushed his team to extraordinary achievements but came with personal costs, including strained relationships and public scrutiny. Yet his passion united a dedicated team committed to expanding humanity's frontiers. The story of SpaceX and space hotels offers a powerful lesson: true progress requires resilience, sacrifice, and the courage to dream beyond limits. It reminds us that the future belongs to those who embrace uncertainty and strive for greatness. Life is full of surprises, but the human spirit will always lead the way. As humanity embarks on its next great adventure among the stars, what drives you to pursue your dreams despite challenges? Share your story and become part of this extraordinary journey beyond our world. What if you suddenly lost everything and had no one by your side? Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough? Elon Musk's journey from founding SpaceX to envisioning luxurious space hotels is nothing short of extraordinary, full of unexpected twists, relentless determination, and groundbreaking innovation that's reshaping the future of human life beyond Earth. It all began with a man who refused to accept limits. Musk's early life was a blend of brilliance and hardship, growing up in South Africa, facing bullying and isolation, yet nurturing an insatiable curiosity and drive to build the future. He moved to America with big dreams, eventually making his fortune through PayPal and Tesla, but space was the ultimate frontier calling to him. Founding SpaceX in 2002 was a gamble few believed would pay off. The first 3 launches of the Falcon 1 rocket failed, nearly bankrupting the company and crushing morale. But Musk's resolve never faltered. He poured his own fortune into the venture, pushing his team through sleepless nights and impossible deadlines. When Falcon 1 finally reached orbit in 2008, it wasn't just a technical success, it was a seismic shift that proved private companies could challenge NASA's dominance. This milestone launched SpaceX into a rapid cycle of innovation. The Falcon 9 rocket, designed for reusability, drastically cut costs and paved the way for regular cargo and crew missions to the International Space Station. Musk's audacious vision extended beyond Earth orbit, colonizing Mars. He dreamed of cities powered by solar energy, growing their own food, and protected from deadly radiation. But before humanity could survive on Mars, we needed to master living in space for extended periods. Enter the concept of space hotels, luxury habitats orbiting Earth that combine tourism, research, and preparation for life on other worlds. Building space hotels demanded overcoming huge technical and human challenges. Microgravity's effects on the body meant engineers developed rotating habitats to simulate Earth's gravity. Radiation shielding involved innovative materials and water tanks to protect residents from cosmic rays. Hydroponic gardens recycled air and water while providing fresh food, creating a self-sustaining ecosystem. But space isn't just physically tough, it's mentally demanding. Isolation, confinement, and the void of space create psychological stress that can fracture even the strongest minds. Architects and psychologists collaborated to design habitats that fostered social connection, natural rhythms, and mental well-being. Communal spaces encouraged interaction, natural lighting simulated Earth's day-night cycle, and virtual reality provided escapes to comforting terrestrial scenes. Crew members and guests underwent rigorous physical and psychological training to prepare for the unique challenges of space living. The early missions were thrilling but revealed real difficulties. Many experienced space adaptation syndrome, nausea, disorientation, and fatigue. Living in confined quarters amplified social tensions, requiring careful communication and conflict management. These trials led to continuous improvements in habitat design and crew support systems, emphasizing resilience and community. Public fascination exploded as breathtaking images and stories from space hotels spread through social media, inspiring millions to dream of life among the stars. Yet the vision also sparked debate. Critics questioned the environmental impact of rocket launches, the exclusivity of space tourism, and the ethics of prioritizing luxury space travel while pressing problems persist on Earth. Musk responded by emphasizing SpaceX's commitment to sustainability, reusable rockets reduce waste and emissions, and framed space exploration as a driver of technology that benefits our planet, from renewable energy innovations to advanced recycling. A dramatic turning point came when a life support malfunction forced an emergency evacuation from one of the space hotels. The crew's quick, coordinated response averted disaster, but the event underscored the dangers of pioneering space habitation. The psychological impact led to increased focus on mental health care and emergency preparedness for space residents. Despite setbacks, the project advanced rapidly. Expanding modules increased capacity and amenities, enabling longer stays and a growing orbital community. Musk's vision of permanent space habitats and Martian colonies shifted from distant fantasy to achievable reality. Behind it all was Musk's intense, sometimes polarizing leadership. His relentless drive pushed his teams to extraordinary achievements but also strained relationships and attracted public scrutiny. Yet his passion galvanized a dedicated group united by a shared mission to expand humanity's horizons. The story of SpaceX and space hotels reveals a timeless truth: progress demands resilience, sacrifice, and the courage to dream beyond limits. It teaches us that the future belongs to those who embrace uncertainty and strive for greatness. Life is full of surprises, but the human spirit will always lead the way. As humanity embarks on this next great adventure among the stars, what fuels your drive to pursue your dreams despite the obstacles? Share your story and join the extraordinary journey beyond our world. Elon Musk's vision of turning humanity into a multiplanetary species has become one of the most compelling narratives of modern innovation and ambition. From the rocky beginnings of SpaceX, where every launch was a gamble between success and catastrophic failure, to the cutting-edge development of space hotels orbiting Earth, Musk's journey is a testament to resilience, creativity, and a relentless pursuit of the extraordinary. The early days of SpaceX were marked by uncertainty. After founding the company in 2002, Musk poured his personal fortune into developing the Falcon 1 rocket. However, the first 3 launches failed to reach orbit, placing the entire project at risk of collapse. These failures weren't just technical setbacks, they tested the resolve of Musk and his small team. But Musk's refusal to accept defeat and his innovative mindset pushed SpaceX forward. The breakthrough came in 2008, when Falcon 1 successfully entered orbit, marking a historic moment that proved private companies could compete in the aerospace industry. This success paved the way for larger projects like the Falcon 9 and the Dragon capsule, which introduced reusability to rocket technology. Reusing the first stage of rockets dramatically lowered launch costs and increased flight frequency, transforming the economics of space travel. Musk's ambitions went far beyond simply sending rockets to orbit. He imagined establishing self-sustaining colonies on Mars, where humans could live independently of Earth. This vision included cities powered by renewable energy, with farms growing food hydroponically, and habitats shielded from the harsh radiation of space. But before such distant goals could be achieved, humanity needed to master living comfortably and safely in space for longer periods. This necessity inspired the concept of space hotels, luxurious orbiting habitats designed to serve as research centers, tourist destinations, and stepping stones for deeper space exploration. Constructing these space hotels demanded groundbreaking engineering solutions. To combat the effects of microgravity, engineers developed rotating habitats that simulated Earth-like gravity through centrifugal force. Radiation protection was enhanced using layered shielding materials combined with water tanks strategically placed to absorb harmful cosmic rays and solar radiation. The habitats featured hydroponic gardens that recycled air and water while producing fresh food, creating a closed-loop ecosystem that sustained life. Psychological well-being was a critical consideration. Living in confined spaces far from Earth posed significant mental health challenges such as loneliness, anxiety, and cabin fever. To address these, architects designed spaces that encouraged social interaction and maintained natural circadian rhythms through advanced lighting systems that mimicked Earth's day and night cycles. Communal areas fostered a sense of community, and virtual reality setups provided immersive escapes to familiar Earth environments, helping residents cope with isolation. Crew members and guests underwent rigorous preparation to handle both the physical and psychological demands of space life. Initial missions revealed unforeseen challenges. Many travelers experienced space adaptation syndrome, causing nausea and disorientation. The confined quarters intensified interpersonal tensions, highlighting the need for robust communication and conflict resolution strategies. These experiences drove continual improvements in habitat design and crew training, focusing on resilience and community building. Public fascination with space hotels grew exponentially as social media and news outlets shared stunning visuals and personal stories from orbit. The idea of living in space shifted from a distant dream to an accessible, tangible reality. However, the journey was not without controversy. Environmentalists and critics questioned the sustainability of frequent rocket launches and the ethics of space tourism's exclusivity, especially as many on Earth face pressing challenges like climate change and inequality. Musk responded by emphasizing SpaceX's dedication to sustainability through innovations like reusable rockets that minimize waste and emissions. He also highlighted how space technology often leads to advancements benefiting life on Earth, including improved renewable energy systems and waste recycling techniques. A dramatic incident tested the safety protocols of space hotels when a critical life support failure forced an emergency evacuation. Thanks to thorough training and quick teamwork, disaster was averted. Yet, the event underscored the inherent risks of living in space and the need for enhanced mental health support and emergency preparedness. Despite setbacks, the development of space hotels accelerated. Expanded modules increased capacity and amenities, allowing longer stays and fostering a vibrant orbital community. Musk's vision of establishing permanent habitats in orbit and on Mars moved from science fiction to achievable milestones. Musk's leadership style, while sometimes seen as intense and demanding, was instrumental in these breakthroughs. His ability to inspire and push boundaries brought together a talented, dedicated team united by a shared vision of humanity's future among the stars. The story of SpaceX and space hotels exemplifies how progress often requires courage to face uncertainty, the willingness to learn from failure, and an unyielding spirit. It reminds us that despite life's unpredictability, the drive to explore, innovate, and connect endures. Life is full of surprises, but the human spirit will always lead the way. As we stand on the cusp of a new era in space exploration, what motivates you to chase your dreams despite obstacles? Share your journey and be part of this extraordinary adventure that transcends Earth and reaches for the stars. What if you suddenly lost everything and had no one by your side? Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough? Elon Musk's journey from the early days of SpaceX to the creation of orbiting space hotels is a tale of relentless ambition, staggering setbacks, and breathtaking breakthroughs that are redefining the future of human life beyond Earth. Musk's path was anything but smooth. Growing up in South Africa, he faced bullying and isolation, but his mind was captivated by technology and space exploration. Moving to the United States, he poured his energy into ventures like PayPal and Tesla, but his true passion was reaching the stars. In 2002, Musk founded SpaceX with a dream so audacious that many dismissed it as fantasy, to make space travel affordable and establish a human presence on Mars. The beginning was brutal. The Falcon 1 rocket failed in its first 3 attempts, threatening the company's survival. Musk risked his fortune, his reputation, and his team's morale. But failure only hardened his resolve. When Falcon 1 finally succeeded in 2008, it was a turning point that proved private industry could compete with government space programs. With this success, SpaceX launched the Falcon 9 and Dragon capsule, pioneering reusability that slashed costs and increased launch frequency. But Musk's vision reached beyond Earth orbit. He imagined thriving cities on Mars, self-sufficient, solar-powered, shielded from radiation. To get there, humanity needed to master living in space for long periods. That's where space hotels came in, orbiting habitats designed for tourism, research, and training future colonists. Creating these space hotels involved overcoming enormous technical and human challenges. Microgravity's toll on the human body demanded rotating habitats to simulate Earth's gravity. Radiation shielding combined cutting-edge materials and water barriers to protect residents. Hydroponic gardens recycled air and water while growing food, making the habitats largely self-sustaining. Yet physical challenges were only half the battle. Mental health was critical. Isolation and confinement in space can cause anxiety, depression, and conflict. Architects and psychologists collaborated to design environments promoting social interaction, natural light cycles, and mental well-being. Communal areas fostered connection, virtual reality offered escapes to Earth-like scenes. Crew and guests trained extensively to prepare for space's psychological demands. Early missions to the hotels were a mix of wonder and difficulty. Space adaptation syndrome caused nausea and disorientation. Close quarters sometimes bred tension. These experiences drove continuous improvements in design and support, emphasizing resilience and community. The public's fascination soared. Stunning photos and stories from space hotels inspired millions, turning science fiction into a tangible reality. But the vision also raised ethical questions. Critics worried about environmental impacts, exclusivity, and space tourism's priority over Earth's pressing issues. Musk responded by emphasizing reusable rocket sustainability and framing space exploration as a driver of Earth-benefiting innovation, from renewable energy to recycling. A life support system failure forced an emergency evacuation on one space hotel mission. A dramatic moment that tested safety protocols and highlighted space's risks. The crew's swift response averted tragedy, but the event underscored the importance of mental health and emergency preparedness. Despite challenges, space hotel development accelerated. Expanded habitats allowed longer stays and a growing orbital community. Musk's dream of permanent space habitats and Martian colonies edged closer to reality. Musk's leadership, intense and demanding, drove these breakthroughs. His vision galvanized a team committed to pushing humanity's boundaries. SpaceX and space hotels teach us that progress requires courage to face uncertainty, the ability to learn from failure, and an unyielding spirit. Life is full of surprises, but the human spirit will always lead the way. As humanity steps into this new era among the stars, what drives you to chase your dreams despite obstacles? Share your story and join this extraordinary journey beyond Earth. Elon Musk's journey from launching SpaceX to pioneering space hotels represents a monumental shift in how humanity views space, not just as a frontier for exploration but as a potential new home. What if you suddenly lost everything and had no one by your side? Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough? Musk's vision emerged from a relentless drive to push boundaries and a refusal to accept the status quo. SpaceX's early years were fraught with failure, from 3 consecutive unsuccessful Falcon 1 launches to financial pressures that nearly bankrupted the company. But Musk's unwavering commitment transformed these setbacks into lessons. When Falcon 1 finally succeeded in 2008, it marked a pivotal moment that proved private companies could access space affordably. Building on this success, SpaceX revolutionized spaceflight by developing the Falcon 9 with reusable first stages. The first successful vertical landing in 2015 redefined rocket economics and opened the door for more frequent, sustainable missions. Musk's ambitions extended beyond Earth orbit, envisioning Mars as humanity's next home. But before colonizing another planet, living in space had to become feasible for ordinary people. This led to the idea of orbiting space hotels, luxurious habitats where tourists, scientists, and astronauts could live, work, and train. Designing these hotels required overcoming numerous challenges. Microgravity weakens muscles and bones, so engineers created rotating sections to simulate gravity. Space radiation posed deadly risks, so layers of advanced shielding materials and water tanks surrounded living quarters. Food production and life support relied on hydroponic gardens and closed-loop systems to recycle air, water, and waste, ensuring long-term sustainability. The psychological impact of space was just as crucial. Isolation, confinement, and distance from Earth can lead to stress and depression. To combat this, architects incorporated natural lighting cycles to mimic Earth's day and night rhythms and designed communal spaces to encourage social interaction. Virtual reality environments helped residents escape the confines of the station, offering immersive experiences of Earth's landscapes. Preparing for space life required rigorous physical and psychological training. Early space hotel missions revealed difficulties such as space adaptation syndrome, nausea, disorientation, and interpersonal tensions in close quarters. These experiences informed continual improvements in habitat design, crew selection, and support protocols. Public fascination with space hotels soared as stunning images and first-person stories circulated globally. Space tourism transformed from fantasy to reality, inspiring a new generation of explorers. Yet, critics questioned the environmental impact of rocket launches, the high cost and exclusivity of space tourism, and the ethics of investing in space luxury amid Earth's urgent problems. Musk addressed these concerns by emphasizing SpaceX's commitment to sustainability, particularly through reusable rocket technology that drastically reduces waste and emissions. He also highlighted how space innovation often drives Earth-based technological advances, such as renewable energy solutions and water purification systems. A dramatic life support failure on one space hotel mission tested the safety protocols and resilience of the crew. Thanks to thorough training and quick teamwork, disaster was averted, but the event underscored the inherent risks of space living and the critical importance of mental health support and emergency preparedness. Despite these challenges, development accelerated. Expanded modules increased capacity, improved amenities, and enabled longer stays, fostering a vibrant orbital community. Musk's vision of permanent space habitats and Martian colonies transitioned from ambitious ideas to practical plans. Musk's leadership style, intense, demanding, and visionary, was essential in overcoming obstacles. His passion inspired a dedicated team united by the goal of expanding human presence beyond Earth. The story of SpaceX and space hotels is a powerful reminder that progress requires courage to face uncertainty, the ability to learn from failure, and an unrelenting spirit. Life is full of surprises, but the human spirit will always lead the way. As humanity embarks on this extraordinary journey among the stars, what motivates you to pursue your dreams despite adversity? Share your story and become part of this unfolding adventure beyond our world. Elon Musk's vision of turning humanity into a multiplanetary species has evolved from a daring dream into a tangible reality through SpaceX's groundbreaking achievements and the emerging concept of orbiting space hotels. What if you suddenly lost everything and had no one by your side? Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough? Musk's early life was marked by resilience. Born in South Africa, he faced bullying and isolation but developed an early passion for computers and space. Moving to America, he sought to make a difference on a grand scale. Founding SpaceX in 2002, he faced repeated failures with Falcon 9 launches but remained undeterred. The successful 2008 orbit marked a historic turning point, validating private space exploration. This breakthrough allowed SpaceX to develop reusable Falcon 9 rockets, drastically reducing launch costs and increasing frequency. Musk's dream extended beyond Earth, focusing on Mars colonization as humanity's next frontier. However, before settling Mars, mastering life in space was crucial. Enter space hotels, luxury orbital habitats blending tourism, research, and astronaut training. Engineers tackled challenges like microgravity's impact by designing rotating habitats that simulate Earth-like gravity. Radiation shielding combined advanced materials and water tanks to protect residents from cosmic rays. Hydroponic gardens recycled air and water while growing food, creating a closed ecosystem. Psychological well-being was central. Architects and psychologists crafted environments promoting social connection, natural light cycles, and mental resilience. Communal areas and virtual reality offered comfort and escape from isolation. Rigorous physical and psychological training prepared crews and guests. Early missions revealed difficulties like space adaptation syndrome and social tensions, prompting design and protocol improvements. Public fascination soared as images and stories circulated globally. Space tourism shifted from fantasy to achievable reality, inspiring millions. Yet critics raised concerns about environmental impact, exclusivity, and ethical priorities. Musk emphasized SpaceX's commitment to sustainability through reusable rockets and framed space exploration as a catalyst for Earth-benefiting technologies like renewable energy and recycling. A life support failure on a space hotel mission tested safety protocols and mental health support systems. Quick crew action prevented disaster but highlighted space's inherent risks. Despite challenges, habitat expansion enabled longer stays and a growing orbital community. Musk's leadership, intense and visionary, united teams committed to humanity's expansion beyond Earth. The story of SpaceX and space hotels teaches that progress demands courage, adaptability, and an unyielding spirit. Life is full of surprises, but the human spirit will always lead the way. As humanity ventures into this new era among the stars, what drives you to pursue your dreams against all odds? Share your story and join this extraordinary journey beyond our world. What if you suddenly lost everything and had no one by your side? Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough? Elon Musk's dream of colonizing Mars and developing space hotels is no longer just sci-fi fantasy, it's rapidly becoming reality. This journey began with SpaceX, a company born from Musk's relentless ambition and refusal to accept the impossible. In 2002, he invested millions of dollars from his own fortune into creating SpaceX, determined to lower the cost of spaceflight and make humanity a multiplanetary species. Early on, SpaceX faced severe setbacks. The first 3 launches of the Falcon 9 rocket failed spectacularly, shaking the company to its core. These failures nearly bankrupted SpaceX, forcing Musk to stake his entire personal fortune on one last launch. When Falcon 9 finally succeeded in 2008, it was a watershed moment. It proved that private companies could reach orbit and compete with government agencies. This victory unlocked lucrative contracts with NASA and accelerated SpaceX's development. The company's next breakthrough was developing reusable rockets, particularly the Falcon 9, which could land vertically and fly again. This innovation revolutionized spaceflight economics, drastically cutting costs and paving the way for more frequent missions. Musk's grand vision extended beyond Earth orbit, to establish human colonies on Mars, complete with self-sustaining cities powered by solar energy, farming their own food, and protected from radiation. But before setting foot on Mars, humans needed to master long-term life in space. Enter the concept of space hotels, luxurious orbiting habitats designed not just for tourism but also for scientific research and training future astronauts. Designing these space hotels required solving unprecedented engineering and human challenges. Living in microgravity takes a heavy toll on the human body, leading engineers to create rotating sections that simulate Earth-like gravity through centrifugal force. Radiation shielding combined advanced materials and strategically placed water tanks to protect residents from deadly cosmic rays. Hydroponic gardens provided fresh food while recycling air and water, creating a self-sustaining ecosystem. But surviving physically in space was only half the battle. The psychological effects of isolation, confinement, and the vast emptiness outside posed profound challenges. Architects and psychologists collaborated to design habitats promoting social interaction, natural circadian rhythms, and mental well-being. Communal areas encouraged connection, while virtual reality provided immersive escapes to Earth-like environments. Residents underwent rigorous training to prepare for these mental demands. The early missions to space hotels were a mixture of exhilaration and hardship. Many travelers experienced space adaptation syndrome, nausea, disorientation, fatigue, which demanded careful medical support. Living in confined quarters also tested social bonds, requiring clear communication and conflict resolution skills. These experiences spurred continuous improvements in design and protocols, emphasizing community resilience. Public fascination with space hotels skyrocketed as vivid images and personal stories spread worldwide, inspiring millions to dream of living among the stars. Yet this vision also sparked ethical debates. Critics questioned the environmental impact of rocket launches, the exclusivity of space tourism, and whether humanity should focus on fixing Earth's problems before venturing into space luxury. Musk responded by emphasizing SpaceX's commitment to sustainability. Reusable rockets significantly reduce waste and emissions, and space innovation often drives technologies that benefit Earth, such as advances in renewable energy and recycling. A dramatic turning point occurred when a life support malfunction forced an emergency evacuation from one space hotel mission. The crew's swift, coordinated response averted disaster, but the incident underscored the dangers inherent in pioneering space habitation and the importance of robust mental health and safety systems. Despite setbacks, development of space hotels accelerated. Expanded modules increased capacity and amenities, enabling longer stays and fostering a vibrant orbital community. Musk's dream of permanent habitats in space and colonies on Mars moved closer to reality. Behind this progress was Musk's intense, often polarizing leadership. His relentless drive pushed teams to achieve the impossible, though sometimes at great personal and professional cost. His passion united a talented group dedicated to expanding humanity's reach beyond Earth. The story of SpaceX and space hotels reveals a timeless lesson: progress demands resilience, sacrifice, and courage to dream beyond limits. It reminds us that the future belongs to those willing to embrace uncertainty and strive for greatness. Life is full of surprises, but the human spirit will always lead the way. As humanity embarks on this extraordinary journey among the stars, what fuels your drive to pursue your dreams despite obstacles? Share your story and join the adventure beyond our world. What if you suddenly lost everything and had no one by your side? Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough? Elon Musk's journey from the founding of SpaceX to the creation of the world's first space hotels is a story of audacity, innovation, and relentless perseverance. It's a tale that illustrates how vision can transform seemingly impossible dreams into tangible realities. Musk's early life set the foundation for his extraordinary ambitions. Born in South Africa, he faced bullying and social isolation, but his curiosity and intelligence were his refuge. Moving to the United States, he pursued degrees in physics and economics, but it was his passion for space exploration that defined his path. The launch of SpaceX in 2002 marked the beginning of a revolutionary era in aerospace. Musk's goal was nothing short of reinventing space travel by making it affordable and accessible. The company's initial years were a trial by fire. The Falcon 9 rocket's first 3 launches ended in failure, each more crushing than the last. With finances stretched to the limit, Musk personally funded the company's operations, risking his entire fortune on a final attempt. When Falcon 9 successfully reached orbit in 2008, it was a breakthrough that changed the industry and won SpaceX a contract with NASA. This success enabled the development of the Falcon 9 rocket, which introduced the concept of reusability. A radical idea that drastically lowered the cost of space launches. Vertical landings and refurbishment became the new norm, making regular trips to space viable. Musk's vision extended well beyond Earth's orbit. He envisioned colonizing Mars with self-sustaining cities, powered by solar energy and protected from harsh space radiation. The idea was to make humanity a multiplanetary species, ensuring survival beyond Earth. But before colonizing another planet, humanity had to master living in space. This challenge gave rise to the concept of space hotels, luxurious orbital habitats that serve as tourist destinations, research centers, and training grounds for future astronauts. Engineering these habitats required innovation on multiple fronts. The effects of microgravity on human physiology demanded rotating modules to simulate Earth-like gravity. Radiation shielding combined advanced composite materials with layers of water tanks strategically placed to protect residents from cosmic rays and solar storms. Closed-loop life support systems incorporated hydroponic gardens that recycled air, water, and waste while providing fresh food, creating a near self-sustaining environment. Psychological well-being was equally critical. Long-term isolation and confinement in space could lead to depression, anxiety, and interpersonal conflicts. Architects designed communal spaces to encourage social interaction, while circadian lighting systems mimicked Earth's natural light cycles to maintain healthy sleep patterns. Virtual reality technologies offered immersive experiences of Earth environments, helping inhabitants combat feelings of loneliness and disconnection. Training programs prepared residents for the physical and mental challenges of space living. Early missions to the space hotels offered exhilarating glimpses of this new frontier but also revealed unforeseen difficulties. Space adaptation syndrome affected many, causing nausea and disorientation. Close quarters intensified interpersonal tensions, underscoring the importance of psychological support and conflict management strategies. These challenges drove continuous improvements in habitat design and crew training, emphasizing resilience and community cohesion. Public fascination with space hotels exploded as images and personal narratives from orbit circulated worldwide. Space tourism became a symbol of human progress and possibility, inspiring a new generation to look beyond Earth. However, ethical concerns emerged. Environmentalists worried about the carbon footprint of frequent launches, while critics questioned the exclusivity and cost of space tourism amid global inequality and environmental crises. Musk addressed these concerns by highlighting SpaceX's commitment to sustainability. Reusable rockets dramatically reduced waste and emissions, and space exploration has historically driven innovations that benefit Earth, including renewable energy technologies and water recycling systems. A dramatic emergency occurred during one space hotel mission when a critical life support system failure forced an evacuation. The crew's quick thinking and extensive training prevented catastrophe, but the incident emphasized the inherent risks of living beyond Earth and the need for robust safety protocols and mental health support. Despite setbacks, the development of space hotels accelerated. Expanded habitats increased capacity and amenities, allowing longer stays and the growth of a vibrant orbital community. Musk's dream of establishing permanent space settlements and Mars colonies moved from science fiction toward achievable milestones. Musk's leadership style, characterized by intense focus and high expectations, was key to these achievements. His ability to inspire and challenge his teams pushed boundaries and fostered innovation, though sometimes at great personal and professional cost. The story of SpaceX and space hotels exemplifies how progress often requires resilience in the face of failure, courage to pursue bold dreams, and an unwavering belief in a better future. It reminds us that even when life is unpredictable and difficult, the human spirit will always find a way forward. Life is full of surprises, but the human spirit will always lead the way. As humanity embarks on this unprecedented journey into the cosmos, what drives you to keep pushing despite obstacles? Share your story and become part of this extraordinary adventure beyond our world. What if you suddenly lost everything and had no one by your side? Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough? Elon Musk's vision to revolutionize space travel, from the founding of SpaceX to the creation of orbiting space hotels, has challenged conventional limits and redefined what is possible. His story is one of relentless determination, overcoming crushing failures, and a visionary drive to make humanity multiplanetary. Musk's early life in South Africa was marked by isolation and bullying, but his intense curiosity and passion for technology drove him forward. Moving to America, he immersed himself in physics and economics, ultimately channeling his ambition into entrepreneurship. Founding SpaceX in 2002, Musk faced enormous obstacles. The first 3 Falcon 1 launches ended in failure, threatening the company's survival and Musk's fortune. The stakes were high, but Musk's refusal to give up led to the successful 2008 launch that marked a new era in private spaceflight. This success unlocked partnerships with NASA and enabled the development of the reusable Falcon 9 rockets, slashing costs and enabling rapid launch cadence. Musk's vision went far beyond Earth's orbit. He dreamed of colonizing Mars with self-sufficient cities, powered by renewable energy, shielded from radiation, and capable of sustaining human life. To reach that dream, humanity first needed to master living in space for extended periods. This led to the concept of space hotels, luxurious orbital habitats designed for tourism, research, and astronaut training. Designing these hotels required innovative solutions to multiple challenges. Microgravity's detrimental effects on human health necessitated rotating sections that simulated Earth gravity through centrifugal force. Radiation shielding combined advanced materials and water tanks to protect occupants from cosmic rays and solar flares. Life support systems incorporated hydroponic gardens to recycle air, water, and waste, while providing fresh food, creating a sustainable ecosystem. Psychological well-being was equally critical. Architects and psychologists collaborated to design environments that promote social interaction, natural light cycles, and mental health. Communal spaces fostered connection, while virtual reality provided immersive escapes to Earth-like environments. Residents underwent rigorous training to prepare for the physical and psychological demands of space life. Early space hotel missions blended excitement and adversity. Space adaptation syndrome, nausea, dizziness, fatigue, challenged travelers, while confined living spaces tested social dynamics and mental resilience. These experiences drove continuous improvements in habitat design and support protocols. The public's fascination soared as vivid images and stories from orbit circulated worldwide. Space tourism transformed from fantasy to tangible reality, inspiring a new generation of explorers. However, ethical concerns arose. Critics questioned the environmental impact of frequent rocket launches, the exclusivity of space tourism, and the prioritization of space luxury amid Earth's social and environmental crises. Musk responded by emphasizing SpaceX's commitment to sustainability through reusable rockets and highlighting how space innovation often spurs technologies that benefit Earth, such as renewable energy and water purification. A dramatic life support failure on a space hotel mission tested safety systems and mental health support. Thanks to swift crew response and thorough training, disaster was averted, but the incident underscored the inherent risks of pioneering space habitats. Development accelerated despite challenges. Expanded modules increased capacity and amenities, allowing longer stays and fostering a vibrant orbital community. Musk's vision of permanent space habitats and Mars colonies moved closer to reality. Musk's leadership, demanding, passionate, and visionary, was key to these breakthroughs. His ability to inspire and push teams beyond perceived limits forged a culture of innovation and resilience. The story of SpaceX and space hotels illustrates how progress requires courage, adaptability, and an unyielding spirit. Life is full of surprises, but the human spirit will always lead the way. As humanity ventures into this new cosmic frontier, what drives you to pursue your dreams despite obstacles? Share your story and become part of this extraordinary journey beyond Earth. What if you suddenly lost everything and had no one by your side? Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough? Elon Musk's journey from the brink of failure to orbiting luxury hotels in space is a testament to vision, sacrifice, and the wild possibility that humanity might one day call more than one planet home. For Musk, the future wasn't about settling for comfort, it was about chasing the extraordinary, no matter how impossible it seemed. SpaceX began as an underdog, a startup daring to disrupt an industry dominated by government giants like NASA and Roscosmos. From the start, Musk made his goals clear: reduce the cost of space travel, develop reusable rockets, and make Mars colonization a reality. Critics called him delusional, especially after 3 failed launches of Falcon 1. But with each failure, Musk and his team refined their designs, worked tirelessly, and pushed forward. The 4th launch changed everything. In 2008, Falcon 1 successfully reached orbit, making SpaceX the first privately funded company to do so. This achievement caught NASA's attention and led to crucial contracts that gave SpaceX the resources to expand. Falcon 9 soon followed, with its revolutionary reusability, turning spaceflight economics on its head. With cost per launch drastically reduced, space was suddenly more accessible than ever before. But reaching orbit wasn't the finish line, it was the launch pad for Musk's larger vision. His eyes were always on Mars. He didn't just want to visit, he wanted to build cities, farms, families. But before any of that could happen, humanity had to learn how to live in space. And not just survive, but thrive. That idea evolved into space hotels. Not just a novelty for billionaires, but a prototype for long-term space habitation. Places where people could live, work, and socialize in zero or artificial gravity. Places that tested the boundaries of architecture, biology, and psychology. The first space hotel module, dubbed Haven 1, launched aboard a Falcon Heavy in the late 2020s. The module was small but efficient, designed for research, tourism, and as a proving ground for future Martian habitats. The interior featured rotating sections that simulated Earth gravity through centrifugal force. Engineers battled countless challenges: how to manage water without gravity, how to recycle waste into usable resources, how to grow food without soil, and how to protect inhabitants from deadly radiation. Layers of water-jacketed walls served both as shielding and part of the closed-loop life support system. Fresh greens were grown hydroponically. Air was filtered through algae bioreactors. Musk insisted on more than survival, he wanted beauty, too. Skylights revealed breathtaking views of Earth, and LED panels simulated sunrises and sunsets to maintain human circadian rhythms. Yet the greatest challenge was psychological. Living in confined quarters, millions of miles from Earth, tests even the strongest minds. Loneliness, anxiety, and disorientation were real threats. To combat this, the hotels featured communal lounges, VR escape pods, and mental wellness programs led by therapists trained in space psychology. Still, early crews experienced breakdowns. A disagreement over a food ration escalated into a near-violent confrontation. Another guest suffered a panic attack during an EVA simulation. These weren't just technical malfunctions. They were reminders that space travel required emotional engineering, too. Public interest surged. Videos from orbit, astronauts flipping in zero gravity, sunrise over Earth's curve, hydroponic gardens floating in modules, went viral. Celebrities began reserving slots. Tech billionaires hosted galas in orbit. But so did scientists, climate researchers, and students. Musk made it clear, the goal wasn't to escape Earth but to expand what it meant to be human. Yet not everyone was on board. Environmentalists raised concerns about the emissions, despite reusable rockets. Economists criticized the spending on space tourism amid growing inequality. Philosophers questioned the ethics of seeding new worlds when we hadn't yet saved this one. Musk's answer was always the same: working toward a multiplanetary future wasn't a betrayal of Earth, it was a contingency plan. Space innovation, he argued, had already produced advances in energy, communications, and materials that improved life here. In his view, reaching for the stars pulled humanity upward. Then came the crisis. A solar flare stronger than any seen in a century hit without warning. Communications blacked out. Power systems flickered. One of the orbiting hotels lost partial shielding, and radiation levels spiked. Panic rippled through the crew. Protocols kicked in. Emergency bunkers were sealed. Engineers on Earth worked round the clock to restore systems. After 48 tense hours, the danger passed, but the event left scars. Several crew members had to be evacuated due to radiation exposure. A public investigation followed. Critics demanded accountability. But rather than slow progress, the incident sparked a new wave of investment in shielding, early warning satellites, and AI-controlled life support redundancy. SpaceX didn't back down, they built smarter. They built safer. The next generation of space hotels was larger, with private rooms, gravity gyms, theaters, and even observation decks. Travel agencies began booking 2-week stays for wealthy adventurers. Researchers stayed for months, testing immune responses and cognitive shifts. Kids on Earth wrote letters to astronauts, dreaming of joining them someday. Elon Musk, now entering his late 60s, began stepping back from daily operations, but his influence was everywhere. His successors at SpaceX, including engineers he mentored personally, carried the mission forward. His original mantra, "Make life multiplanetary," was etched into every blueprint, every launch pad, every hatchway of the orbital hotels. Eventually, the space hotel network expanded to include a lunar orbital outpost, serving as a midpoint between Earth and Mars. Supply missions were launched automatically, and tourists began visiting the moon's surface through SpaceX's Starship landers. Each new step was not just a marvel, it was a message: we are not confined to one world. By the early 2040s, the first crewed Mars outpost was underway, its early settlers having trained in space hotels just a decade earlier. They carried knowledge earned through every success, every error, every locked module and sleepless night floating above Earth. The dream was alive, and for the first time in human history, it was working. Space hotels had become more than science fiction, they were a vital stepping stone. And Musk's legacy wasn't just ships or modules, it was a generation raised to believe that the stars weren't the limit, but the beginning. Life is full of surprises, but the human spirit will always lead the way. So, what would you do if everything familiar disappeared? Would you look to the sky for answers? Or maybe, just maybe, would you board a ship and help build something bigger, beyond borders, beyond Earth, beyond fear? Share your story in the comments. Because this isn't just Elon's journey. It might be yours, too. Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough?